So our first storyteller is Ruby Kholifa, and Ruby is a co-founder and secretary general for the Asian Muslim Action Network, also known as AMAN. And Ruby is from Indonesia and is calling in from Indonesia at the moment. And her work has focused really on the role of women in peace building and interfaith cooperation within the peace building process. Born and raised in Indonesia, she's quite active in writing articles regarding women's issues, minority rights, the role of women in peace building. And she is currently writing a book that is talking about leadership and a guide for leadership in this space. So with that being said, I will pass things over to Ruby. Ruby, the floor is yours.
Hello. Just to check my voice. Can you hear my voice, Nishu?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruby Kholifa. I am the founder and the director of the Asian Muslim Action Network. But now I'm also in charge as the Secretary General for Asia program. In 2007, as a young person receiving a mandate to start an office in Indonesia, I did not request a specific short course on how to be a good leader, or even reading a specific book guidance on how to be a director. What I was excited that I got an opportunity to transfer my vision on a progressive Muslim movement led by women into reality. What I did was meeting friends, sharing the ideas, offer them to join with the limited support, and promise a space for creativity and also innovation to work on women and peace building. I did not have a fixed model of organization, but I was thinking that an organization that has a learning spirit where creative and innovative ideas are growing, staff can make a mistake and have a room for revision, provide regular capacity building, quick response to the community, in particular communities affected by crisis. An organization that has flexibility and focus on output-based result as a measurement. And I'm also imagining the director always says yes for a new idea and support the idea growing. An organization that is grounded in the community but globally recognized because the power of the story of change that is shared by women coming from intersectional background. Soon after our organization was established, I met Mrs. Rohima with the other women from urban poor settings in Jakarta during the flood emergency relief program. She was a simple person with a difficulty to talk, married with two daughters. She worked as a domestic worker. She came with the other women, demanding our organization stay longer to improve women capacity. She said like this, look, we are native here in Jakarta, but we never go far from our community. We want to enjoy the development in Jakarta. That conversation inspired me to start the program called Women's School for Peace, with the mission to change an ordinary woman to be extraordinary. That could lead the community to be more peaceful and resilient. We did not have fixed module. We used flexible guidance. To start, we taught the mothers to learn from the communities, to learn their neighbors, identify vulnerable groups, found the history of the community, understood the interaction among actors, and also recognizing the resources that can use for their work. We changed the curriculum many times because community requests. We integrated a literacy program to advance women's skill in writing and also reading, but connecting with the words with values of peace, love, tolerance are there. Now, Women's School for Peace is operating in 41 communities, engaging more than 2,000 interfaith mothers. All the stories that I told you Without flexible donor, we wouldn't be able to grow as a learning organization, trusted by the community, transform ordinary women to be leaders in the community, responsive to the crisis by encouraging collaborative works among actors. The flexible donor allowed us to use some part of the budget for staff capacity building, improve organizational system, including concern for the welfare of the staff in the community. More than that, donors provided a regular exchange among grantees to share best and not best practice. So I don't think so. We only learn best practice. I think we fail, and the value is normal. We need to learn why we fail, and from that we can draw some lesson. As we work on the conflict transformation framework, in conflict affected areas, we are facing some challenges working with the donor. Firstly, short-term project or one-time donation support are difficult to be applied in the context of conflict transformation because we work with the people, we work with the structure, we work with the culture, and it takes a long time to change the culture, even the perspective and the behavior of the people. And our experience in responding relationship among Muslim and Christian in Poso, for example, in Central Sulawesi, was seen as religious and communal-based conflict before, took more than 5 years to plan, took more than 5 years, and the Women's School for Peace program, mother was able to use the abandoned land to plant vegetables and allowing Muslim and Christian community members joining with the program. And the program has added values to more Muslim and Christian are engaging in the program, not only getting economic benefit, but also contributing to create trust, enhancing connection, and also improve social relationship. Secondly, we're dealing with the accountability and transparency, which often translate into complex requirement to prove that the money is spent well. One confusing practice about accountability is the use of time. The time sheet introduced by some donors need to be fulfilled by the organization to indicate that each staff under the project truly spent the amount of time as written on the contract. How would someone know that her time is using 50% for the project when she is working in peace building? The reason when you work with a conflict transformation and peace building, you are required to spend more time talking to the people. And what written on the contract, the activity is just like the big activity, but you need like stepping and getting more engagement with the community, making trust building, arranging the schedule, getting consensus about the date, and also selecting the people who need to be invited. And all the detailed things may not written on your contract. And how would you measure 50%? We also had difficulty in terms of actual cost approach, in particular when it deal with transportation costs when we work in the remote area. So when you are working remote area, it's very difficult to get receipt from the public transportation. And the donor can always say, you can use your own receipt and get signature, contact number, full name of the driver. So, well, this may be doable, but can you imagine every time you get out from the public transportation, Indonesia, and all of us may be familiar with the subcontract without operational costs, where a big NGO working with small NGO in a particular area like Indonesia, for example, and we do 100% working, but very less operational support. Then by the end of the project, the international NGO asking us to maintain the project and sustaining the project. So the question is, why would local organizations should be responsible for sustaining the program while they were not included in the planning process? So learning from this all strings, the experience that we stepping into a learning organization, we finally also found a way how actually to negotiate and adapt with the difficulties dealing with some donor. 5 years ago, we created strategic networking that focusing on particular issues. For instance, the birth of working group on women and PCVE was an innovative invention to increase our bargaining to donor agency to fund the collective voices, not single organization that they can support. If we are working under impact-oriented approach, we should work in a collaborative way. And this is only visible when a network is created and people working under the same goal, and the support should also collectively reaching out all the partners working with the framework. We were not only able to influence the donor to fund the strategic planning process of the network. Moreover, we were also able to persuade one of the donor to fund the movement. So it was the first success to deal with the one of the embassy in Jakarta that can help in 3 years development of the movement and also running some of the program. So funding a collective movement is supporting the machine of coordination and consolidation among civil society organization functioning. So they can have regular updates, a clear picture on who does what, avoiding overlapping and inspire more emerging peace initiative. The flexible donor allow us also to respond crisis effectively, including responding victim of terrorism in Central Sulawesi, one of the province in Indonesia. When local government and civil society already deliver humanitarian aids and psychosocial services to help the victim, we decided to put the money on evaluation of the emergency response, understanding the current situation of the victim of terrorism and their family, and how the community affected from the terror acts occur in their community. We are very glad that our decision supported by the flexible donor. And the report now used by the head of the regency to develop the new policy on the long-term intervention of recovery and rehabilitation in that area. And during the pandemic, once again, the flexible fund was effective to help the women leaders in community to buy additional support that was not covered by a local government and other NGO. In addition, the women leaders are flexible to ensure that the specific needs for women, children, disabilities, and all the marginalized group are included into the package. So I hope my story can tell something about what we have been doing right now. Thank you so much, Miss Yu, for providing a space for me to talk the truth.